And welcome back. And man, I tell you, sometimes life can be a bit frustrating. You know, I see the problem because one thing I've learned and I've tried to do during the course of my life is to assess, to look at the different factions and come to a rational conclusion derived from my own analysis. And I see the problem, and the problem is twofold. The problem is, on one hand, you have a political regime who feels that having gone to the electorate and gotten the mandate, that electorate feels that it has, and this is my opinion from my own analysis, the electorate feel, having come to the people and asked the people for a chance to prove that you can elevate and advance them, that system or individuals within that system, perhaps not all of them, but at least some in the system feel, well, we have the mandate and we can dictate. And we will do things the way we feel to do it, regardless of how you feel it should be done. That's the one side. And in my opinion, that is a wrong perspective to take. And the other side, speaking on the side of the farmers now, is that the farmers, yes, they are frustrated because they haven't seen things move in the direction that they feel it should. They haven't seen lands being cultivated or prepared in a way and in a fashion or disseminated in a way that could make them feel they can honestly look forward as farmers to a good future. Added to that, they have impediments derived from not being able to get the seeds in the quantities that they want when they need them, especially during, for instance, right now when it's raining in abundance, and they should be able to go out there and plant and by the end of the year be able to reap bountiful harvest, whether it be in peanuts, in sweet potato, in watermelons, in okra, in cassava, yams, onions, whatever. They don't see that happening because the regime, the agricultural system as it stands, seems to be unable to supply their demands, whether it is when they need their grounds cultivated in time. There are all kind of delays. By the time their grounds are cultivated, you're halfway into the rainy season, so you don't get the abundance. We understand that. But here's the real thing that myself and the prior caller was trying to show, and that the farmers need to understand. History has proven that you only get results from those in positions of authority when you show your numbers. And you show your numbers in a way that says, we understand what is happening, we don't like what is happening, we want changes that can benefit us and by extent benefit also the country. You will not get anything if you just get passionate. If you just get one or two individuals who have a good range in their vocabulary and who can expound and use big words, and you put them in the forefront and they are not able to reason, you're not going to get anywhere. What you need is to go in your numbers and not everyone speaking, but have one or two individuals who will in turn at good times say, look, we are the farmers, we do not like what is happening. We are asking you, the system, if you like the way things are going now, give us an answer. If you like the way things are going now, we are hearing numbers saying we don't agree with you. We don't like the way things are going now. And we will put it forward to you also that if you continue in this vein, come the next election, we want to change you. There's no sugarcoating it. It's no two ways about it. But you can't do that if one faction is over there and using a hypothetical. Let's say the St. Peter's farming faction is there, and the St. Peter's farming faction is on the side of the government, and the St. Paul's faction is against the government, and the Sandy Point faction is for the government, and the Sadler's faction is against the government. And how are you going to get anything when you're fragmented? And this is what the system is using against you, because the system then comes and the minister says, yeah, but they are just making noise. Look, we have some farmers here. Look, farmers are getting, and maybe those farmers who the minister is trying to represent, maybe they're grumbling. Maybe under their breath they're saying, the minister isn't right, you know, we're not, but they're not bold enough to come out and say it. Because why? Because they are going along perhaps party lines. And so because of this fragmentation, nothing works. That is why I asked the question, where do you see yourself now, and where do you see yourself? And what I realize is that, and I've seen this throughout the course of my life, where people, it seems as if the majority of us who were once children and are now grown-ups, it seems as if the majority of us feel that now that we are grown-up, it means that we must not listen to people. We must just, I am a grown-up and you can't tell me. And I have a rational point, and because I have a rational point, I'm not going to try to sit down and say, well, let's debate. Let's come to a conclusion that can benefit everybody. No, because I'm a grown-up, I'm going to just push it, and the ruling party, because they're grown-ups, they're going to push it, and everybody's pushing, and everybody's pushing, and everybody's pushing, and nobody's pushing in a positive direction, because you're pushing to the east, and I'm pushing to the west. And all we have is we're stagnated in the middle. At what point will we as a people realize that we need to mature? At what point do we as a people understand that it is only through mature negotiations and whatever factions listening and understanding and realizing that every faction will have to do a bit of compromise. But no. This side has a point. They want to push forward blindly. That side has a point. They want to push forward blindly. Both of them have valid point, but no one is trying to sit down and say, you have a valid point, I have a valid point, let's compromise. Let's see where we can come to a conclusion that makes all of us move forward. Sometimes it's just frustrating being a grown-up when you're dealing with others just like you, who are grown-ups just like you, but yet still they don't act like grown-ups. Sad. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break and I'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9 winnfm.
Get ready, St. Kitts and Nevis. The TDC Home and Building Depot tent sale is back. This Saturday, October 25th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., grab up to 75% off selected items, from building materials to household goods, appliances, and so much more. You'll find deals you just can't resist. But hurry, it's one day only. Don't miss this massive tent sale happening at TDC Home and Building Depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. TDC. Together we succeed.
The Rotary Club of La Amiga Jamaica presents its 19th edition of its primary school spelling bee competition. It's this coming Thursday, 23rd October at 4 p.m. The place to be is at the ECCB Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium to cheer on your favorite speller. Free giveaways and a packed snack bar awaits you. The admission free. Premier partners Rams, Halib Orange, Shirley, and Fruta. Don't miss the Rotary Club of La Amiga 2025 Primary School Spelling Bee Competition.
And we're back on Voices. Today the time is 33 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour. And if you wish to interact, if there's anything that you feel should be ventilated, whether it is something that we discussed before during the course of the morning or something that we have not touched and you feel it should be aired, then feel free to give me a call and do so. The numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. In the UK, 033-344-0065. In the US of A, 718-285-6984. In Canada, 305-921-4619. Like I said, if there's anything that you feel it's worth discussing, give me a call and I will indulge you in such a conversation. Now, just prior, we had a farmer here, and I must admit, yes, I'm still feeling a bit frustrated because it is always frustrating when you sit down and you would like to feel that at the end of a discourse, at the end of a time period, that you would have walked away with something positive, and at the end of such a discourse you find that you're neither here nor there. You haven't even made one step of progression because all you had was just bantering back and forth and no real answers to the real questions, even though we know what the issues are, and even though when it comes right down to it, we seem to be saying the same things. The ultimate same thing is we need to see unification. Myself, the caller, and the farmer, he kept saying we need to unite, but it seems that he feels that it is the people who are going to unite to push the agenda of the farmers. That isn't going to happen unless the people see that the farmers are united. That's one. Then the other aspect of it, usually from the people, if the farmers don't get united as a body and push forward, and I don't mean with negative force, I mean push forward in ways that let it be known in no uncertain terms to the ruling system and regime that you need change, you need positive change. If it is left to the people usually are going to react when it's too late. As the farmer was saying, the people will react when, let's say, hypothetically a war occurs and the ships don't come, then the people will react. But what will that reaction do? Because there's no food. So you're going to react and say, we don't have any food. The farmers were telling you all along that we need food. But the farmers were saying it in fragmentation. The farmers weren't saying it as a united body. And if the farmers aren't saying it as a united body, who else is going to push it? Look, here's the fact. History has shown that ruling systems never move easily unless they are pressured. It is a fact. No matter that you may support Labour, you may support PAM, or you support PLP, CCM, whoever, and the party you support wins, history has shown that when the party you support wins, more often than not, you still have to agitate. Unfortunately, it seems as if though when the party we support wins, we feel it is time for us to be lax. And that is the problem because the party we supported wins and we decide, well, I'm not gonna hit my party, I'm not gonna bash my party, I'm not gonna be aggressive with my party, I'm not gonna make amends with demands from my party, and your party sit down there and run shot all over you. As a matter of fact, don't you realize that a lot of the people who support a particular party, when that party gets in power, majority of the people who supported that party, the majority, get me clearly, the majority of the people who supported that party don't get what they wanted? Because it seems as if the party you supported and put into power are more concerned with winning over the people who they know didn't support them than dealing and appeasing you who supported them. So this is why you need to, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like perhaps you're the lone voice in the wilderness, even though I'm not even though I know I'm not the lone voice, but sometimes it feels that way, that you're the one like John the Baptist crying out in the wilderness and saying, he's to come and be prepared and you know, everybody's just looking at and saying, what is the matter? Is he crazy or something? Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning, Quinn.
Good day. Good day. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm giving thanks for life.
Yes.
I listened with interest this morning. Some of what came to the fore to the general public via the many callers to your program, to the Island Peak program.
Yeah.
And I have tried to kind of get in, but, you know, what was said was well said, and there's a lot to extrapolate from. But firstly, allow me to permit me to say a few things.
Go ahead.
Housekeeping. And I wish to say good morning to Mrs. Henry, my dear elder, you know, dear matriarch, dear queen mother. Those titles are befitting of her. And but Mrs. Henry said something yesterday which I beg to differ in the sense that, and I can only speak for myself, and others can defend themselves. And for most of the time, yes, we might err here or there, what our intention. Mrs. Henry, she appreciates the information that is dispensed from our end as a black conscious lady, a mother, a grandmother, maybe a great-grandmother, that there is an inclination, there is an innate feeling about some sentiments that we all will agree on. But here is where some of it gets kind of personal, maybe. Might feel like it's an affront to a faith-based persuasion, conviction,
Yeah.
which a lot of us, we hold on to so dear because in the tough times of our people, we held on to so many things. Some things that will last the time and some things that will have to give. And so in saying that, when we say some things like I said that Pastor Ray Higgins, he built the African village, but he was an ordained pastor, a chain, you know, he went to seminary and he got his doctorate in theology and everything. But when in his youth, in this ministry, something was said from a conscious community and he did not understand it, and it's when he got to this bookstore and discovered this book, and the book was guiding him through as to how this thing came about. Because we were taught not to read, and when we got to read, you know, we were given a sort of a narrative, a historic narrative, a scientific narrative, or a religious narrative that was designed. You know, in Washington, D.C., there is a book that is called the Slave Bible. Certain passages was not allowed to be there because the struggles of the people, they would have identified with certain passages. A long story short, Mrs. Henry thinks that our intent, or the intent of some of us, is to step on the toes of Christians and other religious people. And I can assure you it's not that. It is not that.
And I will concur with you. It is not that from my end either.
Yes, but there are some sensitivity, and in order to because it's like peeling an onion, you know, and the layers, you will cry, and some of it when it comes across. That is why I think a lot before I speak, so that when I could select a word that will be a little bit more palatable. Not that I am pacifying. I'm not a pacifier, but something that is more palatable, so that the illness of what the charmer and the illness of what we suffer,
and the reason why
it could be soothing and healing.
And the reason why you do that, and I tend to do that too, is because we are sensitive, and we know that, as you stated before, we a lot of us survived 400 years of oppression, and we needed a buttress. And if that is the buttress that you had, we are not saying that you should discard it completely one time. What we're doing is putting a mirror in front of you and saying, yes, you're following this, but don't follow it blindly, because it has been tampered with.
Yes, and whatever the remnants, because if you do a survey, maybe not as obvious in St. Kitts, but it's the general right across the world. The church buildings and the church goers, that number has dwindled till persons are coming up with other ways and means to occupy these buildings, these church buildings, once put there for church assembly. And because of the dwindling numbers in the church attendees, you know, they are using those buildings for other purposes.
But let me ask you this.
Now,
I'm going to let you further your statement, but I want it to be a back and forth, an interaction with us. So, following your last statement there, isn't it because, as we've seen the church evolve, a lot of this younger generation see the church as more taking and not really giving and contributing the way the old church did?
it is so multifaceted, and it is not one thing.
Yes, I agree.
That could be a part of it, and
Yeah.
that could be a vital part of it, because monies are so scarce, and the church, okay, all right, the upkeeps of the buildings and the maintenance of the buildings, that is one thing. But when you're going to find a church pastor flying a $20 million jet or driving these Rolls-Royce cars, these expensive, trinkets and things of that nature.
And
This
telling
is where
you,
the questions will ask by the church goers.
and telling you while they're doing that they deserve to be blessed by the Almighty. They deserve that blessing. You deserve it. But what about you?
Yeah, foot soldiers. This is the point you was just making with the politicians
Yeah.
and the masses of the people who don't get anything. So it happens in the church, it happens in politics, and it happens in other spheres
I
of
tell
our
you.
society.
Yeah.
So this is not just down to that, but on the high echelon of our spiritual, conviction and our spiritual calling and our spiritual consolation, the things that console us most when we go to our beds and no friends around, and we have to deal with this matter here, knowing that the children don't have anything to eat in the morning and all that.
Yeah.
We turn to God. So my intention is to bring the awareness to the people and to let the people know that we need to remember, because everything is going to be put to the test, Everything is going to be put to the test, and I can assure you, the generations that are being born now, you cannot present this thing to them.
No, not
They have been born. They have been born with a new. It's like the ancestors. They're coming back.
Yeah.
In which Christianity don't believe in reincarnation. Even when Jesus tell them, "Here is John," that's the Elijah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't see it like that. So I ain't saying the ancestors coming back is like, boy, what are you saying? When you're dead, you're done. No, my ancestors still watch over me. That is why I invoke them every day, because this is a fight. And I am not in this fight, this battle to lose it. And I would never forget to invoke my ancestors, because it warranties that I invoke all my ancestors. Because the adversaries, there are many, and they had the wherewithal where they hid things from us, things that we're supposed to know. So it's our innateness that is what has brought these things to us. And it's because of my innateness, that is why I speak the way I speak. It's not everything because I got out of a book. I get it from nature also. And because of my innateness, I tap into the source and bring it forward in an articulate way, in a way like a doctor that presenting a prescription to sick people, diseases. I want to go now to, there was a resignation of a high-ranking military official, a black man at that, because of the West, the South Command, he has resignated and decided no. He is not going to, and I want to allow that general, that whatever his rank was in the U.S.,
He was the He was the commander of whatever was supposed to happen in the region.
The South, yeah, and yes. So that things is going to hit the fan, and we, the general public, could say, well, at least this guy didn't go along with it. You recall when tension was rising with Abraham Traore of Burkina Faso and this General Langley?
Yeah.
Also, I listened to a clip this morning where a former military guy is saying the way that the Trump administration cleaning house with black officers, and he recalled Colin Powell and others who was in the military, because they came up with a policy that not even shaven bumps on your skin, you know? Yeah. And the guy made the point that some 80% of black men who shave their faces leave bumps.
Yeah.
So you're going to come up with a policy
and
to
that
say
is,
that...
And that is because our hair grows different. Whereas theirs come out straight, ours go in a circular fashion. And so it tends to, after the agitation of the skin, it tends to wind up, and then it wants to find a way out, and it causes
the skin to kind of
get inflamed.
The derma, the epiderma, and so forth. Yes.
Yeah.
So they came up with that policy. For what reason? As the guy is asking, 80% of the men in black men in the military, when they shave, they get bumped. So you're gonna come up with a policy to say, well, you're not allowed here anymore.
But watch here. You follow history. I don't know what facet, but I know you follow history to a considerable extent. You realize that when you look at the history of the World War with German, World War I, World War II, you look at the various wars that the United States have had. When you look at the history, you understand, you're well aware of the role that our black soldiers have played, right?
Yes.
You're well aware, because it's coming out now, that a lot of the victories that they had would not have taken place if not for soldiers in there was a part in history where a set of airplane pilots were sent into Germany in that period of the single plane.
Tuskegee.
Yes.
The Tuskegee.
Yes, and what
aircraft guys.
Yes, and what they did, And we're well aware of when Bob Marley speaks about the Buffalo Soldiers, and we're well aware of a set of soldiers that were sent in tanks during the World War II that were sent to the German front lines, and they were sent to be sacrificed. They were supposed to die out there, and they held that position for over 20 something days until
something that was unthinkable.
that's it.
Undoable.
Until the Americans were able to reinforce themselves. So let them go ahead. Let them go ahead, because as I've said on numerous occasions, as long as they keep trying to retard the black people, they're retarding themselves and they're retarding humanity on a whole.
But Quint, what I would like to see though, maybe it is happening, and this is why their concern is. What I would like to see, because with the General Langley and Abraham Traore, in social media that plays such a vital and critical role, the thought processes was like, General Langley, you ain't got to put up with Trump thing. Go and lend your expertise, exert your expertise to the African struggle. Because you guys have a lot of experience from being on the front line in every war. A modern war, at least, we could talk about.
Yeah.
Where black soldiers was recruited and was being on the front line.
But
there are some guys from Newtown who can come back from time to time. They live in the U.S.
Yeah.
And they went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Some couple brothers, and they survived.
Well, down at that cenotaph, those names that you see there, what do they represent?
Right. And speaking of the cenotaph, you're in the Fort Lands area. And it is such a travesty that the way the former Fort Thomas Hotel and the grounds, those hallowed sacred grounds, where black soldiers would have been in at Fort Thomas, the fortress that it was, and would have probably died on those grounds. For even if architecture were to inspire people, and we are coming out of the French and the British architecture from the Victorian era and the likes, and predominantly 97% of black people. And I'm going to tie this in when, because I'm writing something on it now. When the Russian businessman that owned that building where it used to be Eskimo Foods or Marshalls, when the Russian businessman wanted a name, he decided that I'm going to put the name Paul Mall, as the Independence Square now was once known as Palmer Square. And conscious people like Garfield Alexander and others on social media took to social media and said, no, what is the name of that mall now? It is named Mango Mall, which is more befitting because mango is a citrus, a Caribbean food, a tropical food, which we enjoy here in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So, for the first announcement in August that the Prime Minister spoke about the groundbreaking and what is going to be down at Fort Thomas Hotel, that the grounds, as to what this last groundbreaking here in October 13th, where it's going to be like what they call Love Museum, as a start from what it was supposed to be, a Caribbean museum and so forth, displaying Caribbean, all things Caribbean.
And let me interject here, because these are why I have concerns, because it makes me ask the question, is it that our leaders are ignorant of some things? Is it that when they go and they sit down with these potential investors, that the investors tell them one thing and they, in their naivety, just swallow it up, and when the investor sets foot on the ground, then the investor does what they want? Or is it that our leaders are told by the investors what they tend to do, but they come back and tell us a lie? I'm just asking the question. Is it that they tell us a lie so as to pacify us, so that we are lax until when we see the investor hit the ground and the investor does what they want to do, and we're not in a position to do anything about it. Those are the two questions. Is it that they are naive and they come saying what the investor says, and the investor do otherwise, or is it that they come very well knowing what the investor tends to do, but tells us a lie so that it can just stall for time while the investor implements whatever?
It could be of both, as well as because of the lack of the transparency. Those guys, they're bordering on shifting. They are shape shifters. They say one thing now, and then when you look, the investors kind of like the groundbreaking and certain progress within the project is at a position where those guys come from beneath the veil now.
Yeah.
Like how the man in Nevis came from beneath the veil.
Yeah.
And he's saying something, and then our prime ministers look like shape shifters. Prime Minister Dr. Joe and Premier Mark Brantley. They are shape shifters. They shift from one thing to the next. No transparency, and the amount of money I said was $31 million, $30 million,
Okay.
and none of it was like went through certain stages, where it needed to go to certain stages. So we are looking at it, and the architecture is not befitting of the Caribbean. Is not befitting of what our influence should be, what we should have to say to put into that architecture to reflect who we are, and 97% people don't have no say
But
in
here,
architectural design that's going to reflect us, who we are.
but hear this also. That latter point is important because, like I said, and I've heard individuals who are associated with this. What's this body called who deals with heritage things and so forth?
The present one, I think it's
Yes.
the St. Christopher Trust Heritage Society. I think
Okay.
that's the official name.
Yes, and I'm hearing from at least two individuals that they didn't know this was happening. So here's how are you going to do something that you said is steeped in our history, but the people who are supposed to be au fait with what is to be implemented, what was and what is to be in relation to history, they're unaware.
Considering now the investors, they don't care what grounds it was, They don't care if it was a cemetery where our ancestors were, and it was always sacred in the ecclesiastical framework of that and all of that. They don't care. They don't care if it reflects. This is what Mrs. Henry should, and she did say something along those lines, which I allowed her for, because heritage is like a usurpation of one culture, a usurpation, if you want to call it that, of one faith base, where the design more reflect more like a Middle Eastern Arabic or like Hindu, kind of like minaret, like place of worship.
And that again brings another aspect that Miss Henry tries to touch on occasionally, and I think we have not delved too much in. We've got to be very careful of this. Anything that comes from the Arabic or the Arabian, culture that wants to integrate with us, because we know the history.
Mrs. Henry will give me support on that.
Yes.
Because Mrs. Henry will say from time to time, we always having a one-sided perspective when it comes to, it's this transatlantic slave trade.
Yes.
But it was not just restricted to the transatlantic slave trade. It also redound to the trans-Saharan slave trade, where the Arabs played a pivotal role in that aspect.
Yes.
And except for, yes, I agree, and we will touch on these things from time to time, but because I grew up in a Christian domain, so to speak, that's why a lot of my attention is within this domain area here.
Yes.
Where the French and the British brought it to us. And this is where my struggle, my resistance is a lot. Not to say, not to negate all of that other thing, but now the time warranties that I can delve into that aspect because I am seeing where
But
it look like
here's what I'm saying.
Christianity is dwindling and some other faith-based religion will take over.
But here's what I'm saying, Africa. I'm saying that perhaps in hindsight, we should have heeded what Miss Henry was trying to say we should have delved more into that because now we see that it's propping up here. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree. And I agree to that.
And if we had delved into it, then by the time it props up, people would have been more aware of that negative part of that history that now wants to make a resurgent in our culture.
Yes, because the appeal is our people, because the people are the power to the people. You know what I mean? Not so much our politicians, even though we wish our politicians used to listen to us. Mm-hmm. Someone said something about, the people gave the politicians the power, so that what the politician does now is all good. No. We always have their feet have to have their feet to the fire.
Yes.
In terms of what is reflective of us and what is to be implemented to reflect who we are as a people. And it's because we don't know this, and that is where our attention should be focused in sensitizing the people, and I agree with it, because if we know better, we should do better.
Yes.
Because we don't know this, we will compromise another religion, which is not our own, another faith base, which is not our own, if, like, the trade-off would be, all right, Christianity has lived out its usefulness all the years, and time to turn the page and accept Islam, Hinduism, and all the other ism, but not you as Africans, because you should never be awoken.
Yeah.
Always stay asleep, because people rely on your wealth and your resources and your energies to stay afloat. Mm-hmm. So we must always be the cure of wood and carriers of water for other people.
Yeah, we must always we must always acquiesce to other people's indoctrination and discard our own history.
Yes, like in certain areas, the Mandarin language is being taught. I have heard other people talk about learning another language.
Yeah,
but
French.
The languages they're talking about is far from Kiswahili. It's far from the Akan. It's far from anything to do with Africa. Yeah. We must learn everything else except for who we are.
Yes.
Don't learn about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this is the message we bring.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for your input. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Get ready, St. Kitts and Nevis. The TDC Home and Building Depot tent sale is back. This Saturday, October 25th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., grab up to 75% off selected items, from building materials to household goods, appliances, and so much more. You'll find deals you just can't resist. But hurry, it's one day only. Don't miss this massive tent sale happening at TDC Home and Building Depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. TDC. Together we succeed.
The Rotary Club of La Amiga presents its 19th edition of its primary school spelling bee competition. It's this coming Thursday, 23rd October at 4 p.m. The place to be is at the ECCB Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium to cheer on your favorite speller. Free giveaways and a packed snack bar awaits you. The admission, free. Premier partners, Rams, Halib Orange, Shirley, and Fruta. Don't miss the Rotary Club of La Amiga 2025 Primary School Spelling Bee Competition.
And welcome back. The time is 7 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour. Rather an interesting morning. Now, just recently, before that bit of a commercial break, I was having a bit of a chat with Africa. And I'm going to use something that he said to continue my discussion, because on a prior occasion, he spoke to the amount of monies that is being used to garner that property in the Fort Thomas area. And today he brought it down to, because before he wasn't too sure, but today he said it is in the range of $30 million. Now, that figure is quite significant. The importance of that figure is significant to me because when you look at the Fort Thomas area, I'm sure that most of us in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis are well aware of that area that incorporates the Fort Thomas area space where the Fort Thomas Hotel was. It will not take you long to walk from one end of that property to the other end, whether you're walking from the east toward the west, whether you walk from the north toward the south, which will be, you will be impeded by the cliffs. That is a small property. Well, small in range in relation to that property or zone over on Nevis. So here's where the figure comes into play, because I said it on a prior occasion and I shall reiterate it. If that area of land in the vicinity of the Fort Thomas area, the selling price is estimated in approximately to be $30 million. How is it that when we look at the presentation by these individuals who say they want to bring this place called Destiny, I admonished a lot of you to look at that video. I hope that a lot of you did. Now, I want you to envision what you saw, and if you have that video close to hand, pull it back up and look at it again. And I want you to place special emphasis on that place, the point where the music starts to play, and you're seeing what they have presented by means of AI. They have concocted an image, and they say to you and to us, this is what we will bring to you. Now, if that small bit of land in the Fort Thomas area, the selling price or the buying price is about approximately 30 million. How is it that the persons who are presenting this big zone, estimated to be approximately in the range of 5 to 6 square miles, you see the difference? Square miles. And the person in their smug representation to us, feeling that we are so daft as a people, we are so unintelligent and unenlightened and unaware of even basic things in the world, that this individual throws out a figure of $50 million. Mind you, not 50 billion, $50 million. Now, again, envision Fort Thomas, selling price $30 million, and this individual's trying to sell us a vast area where they're going to put down this utopia, and he brings the highest figure he touts is in the range of 50 million. And you see what we envision, what we see when that video shows you all the cascading different plateaus of housing and forestry and pools and all kind of things, and cascading down to the sea, and not to mention what they propose they will do to the sea again in terms of extending land and dredging and that kind of stuff. I mean, come on. How stupid do you think we are? This reminds me of years ago when I used to work at ZIZ, that's in the 80s, and an individual came in association with a particular university or institution on the island that on an annual basis brings in a lot of students to study a particular science. And this individual, a female individual, was having an interview on ZIZ, and she said, you know, when I heard about St. Kitts and Nevis, and I was coming, I was packing to come, and I was thinking that when I got here, I would see the natives waiting on the shore in their grass skirts, and I was thinking that the houses would be like trash houses and so forth, and I was surprised to see that you're so developed, and I remember looking at this young Caucasian lady and thinking to myself, yeah, that's what you perceived? And I say that to say this. It has to be fast forward from the 80s to 2025, and it has to be that these individuals who come and put forward something to us, they still think that we're in trash houses, wearing grass skirts, and are going to be swaying when they come into the beaches and singing, "Oh, Kumbaya, my Lord, you are the savior of us." I mean, come on. And to further this, that these individuals can pull the wool and get one over on our leaders, it makes you ask the question, what is the mindset of our leaders? And I keep saying it over and over again. Our leaders must understand what they are dealing with even before they come leaders. So to a lot of you young people out there who might be aspiring to be a future politician, you know, think about what is and should be entailed in being a future politician, the responsibility that goes with it, that you're not going to be going out there and sitting down with people to negotiate for the betterment of your country, and these people are going to be like little saints. These people are cutthroat people. The world of business is a cutthroat business. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Quinn.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good. Now, Quinn, since yesterday I was trying to call in when you were on Island T, but for some reason the overseeing line didn't seem to be working. It ring, and it ring out.
Okay.
But you said that if they think they can fool the leaders.
No, I didn't say if they think. I asked the question, what kind of mindset our leaders are in, that these people who come with this primitive image of us, it seems, can pull something over on them.
Maybe she thought you were going Hawaii.
Well,
but the thing is that the leaders well know what's going on. You know, the thing is that the leaders think they could constantly fool the citizens, because I think if the leaders mostly pulling the wool over our eye, I think they're fully aware of what is going on. But they pull the wool over the citizens' eye.
I wouldn't disagree with you, but I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, and
Keep trying. It's so nice that you're trying to give them the benefit of a doubt, but they're fully aware what's going on. Because like yesterday when I listened to that tape you play of Jew, that hit them and their fake passion. Their passion is so fake because, like you say, he's not consistent. You got all that passion about the colonialism and getting back the land and who took the land and who purchased the land and who can distribute the land. But yet you go into parliament, pass law, which give people autonomy in your country over the very same land that you're bragging about. The passion is fake. Who they think they're fooling? Because it doesn't matter. You're passionate, but you're so passionate about we get back the land from the colonial masters and the colonial, but yet you're putting us back into the hands of the same colonial masters. And the same colonial people you're bringing back in the country to take over. When you give them autonomy, what do they say?
Caller, Here's why one of the reasons I've said it on numerous occasions and I shall reiterate. One of the reasons I do the things I do, say the things I say, and play the clips I play is not to pull down our leaders, but to hope that our leaders would have what some people term an epiphany, that they will sit down and realize, for instance, when I played that clip where the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Drew was making those passionate statements, I would hope that when he goes home and he lays down in his bed in the night, that he would have an epiphany and he would realize, hey, this is the trajectory I was on. Why don't I get back on that track as opposed to going off on inconsistent tangents? So that is my hope when I do these things.
For them to have for them to lie down and have an epiphany, they need a conscience, and a lot of their conscience is smeared with hot iron.
Well,
they need a conscience. They have none. It's about them enriching themselves. When they come out, look at their goal. When they come out of office, their aim is to don't have to lift another finger. They're not their children.
yeah, but don't they see that the masses of the people, it never
They don't care not about the masses of the people.
but it never ceases to amaze me that if I am, let me use a hypothetical, if I am in, let's say I am in St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm using a hypothetical, I like to use hypotheticals. I'm in the middle of St. Kitts and Nevis, which means the proximity of St. Kitts and Nevis, I am in the middle of it. I have a lot of power. I can make things better for St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm using a hypothetical, remember. I'm in a position I can make things better for St. Kitts and Nevis. I am only one person. St. Kitts and Nevis is 50-something thousand people, okay? I am one person. I am one father who has 5 children, who has their mothers, who have my aunts and so forth. So my extended family, let's say, my extended family is in the range of 50. You understand? You're following me? You're following me? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm in the center of St. Kitts and Nevis. I have all this power. I have one family that amounts to 50. I am so foolish that I'm looking after me and my one family that is about 50. And I'm leaving the rest of the country, which is 50-something thousand people, to degrade, to be poor, and I'm bringing in foreigners and I'm making sure they're set up, and next thing you know, 10 years down the line, those foreigners are set up. That 50-something thousand of my population that I ignored are still impoverished and still in poverty, and now have to depend on these people who I brought in. Remember that I am only one with 50 people that make up my family. What you think is going to happen to me? As rich as my family is, that 51 people, how you think that those investors are going to deal with my 51 as opposed to 50-something thousand? But wait, let me finish. Suppose now it was the other way around. I'm in the middle. I have my 50 family. I'm in a position to help advance my country. And I advanced that 50-something thousand people to the extent where they are independent enough that they can provide jobs and so forth. At the same time, I bring in some investors. But 10 years down the line, the investors do not outnumber my people. One, my people are so empowered that no investor can go to my people and demand that you do this and you jump through hoops and this and that. Where do you think I stand in that population now? Because now you realize I and my 50 family, which make 51, don't stand alone, It is 51 plus 50-something thousand. Why don't our leaders see this?
Quinn, they don't see that because they're only seeing for themselves. They're for them and their family and their friends. They're only seeing but for themselves.
But
remember, they're not even looking way down the line. The narrative that you just put out, right? Like you say, after you don't put these people in, you forget when they come take over, it's only you and your 50 family.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could be overthrown.
That's it.
But they're not thinking about that, Quinn. They're only thinking about the now. As long as You remember the
But
story
don't,
in the
but
Bible
don't,
about
but caller, don't you realize, or don't they realize that it is a stupid way of thinking?
it is.
So I mean, so for the life of me, you can't see that you're working to because when those investors come and they realize that I work with them to keep my 50-something thousand people impoverished, you know what they're going to do? They're going to band together, and next thing you know, they're going to come to me and make demands. They might say, well, look, we want that land you have. We want it for some kind of development. What am I going to do now? Run out to my 50-something thousand people who outnumber the investors and ask them to please come and help me and my 50 family, because what do you think those people are going to do?
But Queen, isn't that what it's like on a regular basis when the politicians them get in office, when they're out of office, they complain about everything.
Yes.
But when they go in, the same problem there, but they leave that problem, and when they come out of office again, then they bring back the problem to you, to come to you. Both of me are gonna solve this problem, but you were there, you didn't solve it.
So my question then,
you
caller,
make it worse?
but my question, caller, is at what point do our leaders realize that they have to make positive change that benefit everyone and not stop being selfish?
But Quinn, that's a hard one. I can't answer at what point they're gonna realize, because remember I tell you first you need a conscience to realize, and they're smeared with hot iron.
Well,
and when your conscience is smeared with hot iron, that's dangerous.
Well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best, because they say never, and I'm going to hope that somewhere down the line, if not now, sooner than later, our leaders understand the trajectory that they need to take.
Queen, uncross your finger. Let the oxygen flow to your finger. You hear my brother? Let them fall asleep.
I will not uncross my fingers, because if I do so, then it means I give up hope. And if our foreparents had given up hope, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Boy, I tell you.
Well,
well, I'll call back if anything else comes to mind. But don't fall for fake passion. It's a fake passion. It's inconsistent. Have a good day.
Yeah, I don't want you to say don't fall for Jew, because it's not about falling. It's about, as I said before, it's about putting a mirror in front of them, and whether or not they will look into the mirror and see the error of their ways and have an epiphany. It's up to them. It doesn't mean that I'm being fooled, but like I said, we cannot as a people give up hope. That is why people keep changing the change, as Mr. McMahon would say. We change the change, hoping that the next change we make, the last change we make, will see us moving in a positive direction. Unfortunately, we keep changing the change, and it doesn't seem to be bettering us. It seems to be empowering external forces who don't have our good intentions foremost in their minds. I'll take a bit of a break, and I'll be right back.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply. Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right.
And we're back. Hello, caller.
You're back?
Yes.
Let me turn down this TV. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good day.
Now, let me make something clear. I guess you know that there are more Muslims and Arabs in Africa than Christians. Is that so?
Yes, I think I'm not. I can't say for certain, but I think from what I've garnered, it is so.
Yeah, they were forced. You either convert or you perish.
Yes.
And so they have a way of defending themselves. The pagans and the Christians are to be wiped out. You can't criticize them or they don't want any criticism. They have done a lot of damage. They're still doing.
They're still doing.
Still doing.
Yeah, still pushing foremost in this slavery thing and so. Yeah.
We overlook it. We don't talk about it because we're afraid. Then the very Bible itself says, a lot of people say they're Christian, they're not Christian. It says, a man planted a field and he planted good seed. And while the man was sleeping, the enemy came and planted tares or weeds among them. I was listening to a thing and watched a video with this lady who was one of the person in the New York Communist Party boasted that she had recruited 1,000 young men to enter the Catholic faith seminary.
Yes.
In every religion. I don't call a lot of those who talk about the Christian do Africa, not them. They don't qualify. He said, why call me Lord, Lord, and do not the things I say? And God promised to vindicate. So a lot of us suppose that they get away with it. Why do you think the kingdom come down? It's by design. God is not mocking, you know. We assume God is afraid of people, but He doesn't, so. And the Muslims, when they went there, they met the Africans with their religion. Did they adopt it? No. No.
But Miss Henry, that is why, because I'm, like I said, you know, and people don't get it, I'm a realist. And I know there are times when you brought up those instances, and I referred to it earlier when I was speaking to Africa. One of the reasons I didn't pay much credence to it, I intended to, but one of the reasons I didn't is because the colonialist aspect of it and what we see happening was more foremost and seeming more prominent and evident. And like I just said to Africa, we erred on that because now we see that the Muslim aspect seems to be making influence, and we should have followed you. This is what I said. We should have followed.
I keep bringing it up all the time because the truth is, when we speak about African being all over the world, is the Muslim carry them, the Arabs carry them there, all kind of across Europe, all over the place. They have found some black people in some countries, how they get there. They're being tracked to the Arab slave trade. So I am saying, when you're discussing slavery, there is no question that the Atlantic slave trade was terrible. But how you compare 12 to 40 million and today, Africa could be further ahead, you know.
Well, I've always said that.
They could be further ahead.
And humanity would have been further ahead.
And then the thing is, they're coming to our country, and here they put up a mask, and they put up a this, and that. There's economic boycott, you know. Mm-hmm. So, when you said, oh, the Christian, then they couldn't qualify as none. Not according to the Bible. And people say, oh, I'm a Christian. And you look at their lifestyle. Jesus said, why call me Lord, Lord, and don't do the things I say? So I am saying to concentrate all of your effort on the Atlantic slave trade and to ignore the Irish slave trade that is not I wouldn't say right, ethical. I mean, Nigeria all across They do them much damage. Huh? The aim is to dominate. You either convert by will or by force. And we ignore it. We ignore it. Look in Trinidad, you know, goes out Trinidad. Right? The man, Barack, whatever his name, tried to take the parliament. In the Caribbean, so in a small thing, we lament and we lament. God will reveal everything. He says, oh, well, root them out. He said, look, they asked the man who owned the field, must I pull them out? He said, if you try pulling them out right now, you can pull out the good seed. He said, you wait until harvest. They're going to be the first to pull out. And they will be thrown into the fire. So God does not condone what went down. Could never. And we sometimes fail to see the part that the Africans themselves played. And all North Africans, they're black people. So while the Arabs might have passed on, our people carrying out the same doctrine and action. So when churches in some places close down, it's not right, he said, they will be pulled up by the roots. I don't talk half a Bible. All who are playing and who was, even in our own lives and family, in our own small churches, you can pull them out. So even when you hear about, and they have this thing in the church and so, them there's the bad seed. And he said, whatever is hidden shall be revealed.
But Miss Henry, here's a bit of a problem, though. I hear what you're saying, but the word Christianity and Christians is used in such a broad context that it seems to me, if you say there are Christians out there and they're doing wrong, people just take it against you. They feel like you should just paint all Christians in one brush and say that Christians are.
That is what people do.
Yeah.
But if you know and read that Bible, you send people into captivity, overthrow. My friend has said that God is a murderer. You got to murder them, they murder them, because the wicked shall be destroyed. So I don't know, up to now we don't address the Arab slave trade. We're going all over. Bad seed is bad seed.
Again, Miss Henry, I've always said, and I will reiterate, it is this slavery, the Atlantic slave trade that brought us here. And in dealing with our aspect of how we were brought here, that is why I tend to deal on that aspect. But hear this. As I said earlier, and I again reiterate, it was an error on my part, and also perhaps on Africa's part, not to also enlighten the people as to that aspect of our history.
I keep bringing it up, and everybody, we can concentrate.
Yeah.
Every black person you find across Asia, the Mediterranean, is a Muslim, carry them there. And they're not any better than things. Some people say, that imagine today all in Libya, so there's still selling black people. People trying to get to Europe, and they land up in Libya and other Muslim countries, and they can't pay the bill. They sell them. Anytime anybody or country open them out against them, it's trouble. They had ISIS and they have all kind. And we're dumb to it.
Well, we're not dumb to it. I'm not dumb to it. But again,
Turn a blind eye then.
Miss Henry, don't be like how you what you're doing right now is here. I spoke to Africa. You hadn't called us yet, and I called your name and I said to him, we made a mistake.
I heard you. And I appreciate what you said.
Yes, and now you come and you're just rubbing my nose in it over and over. I've admitted it. And hence, going forward, we'll try to make amends. Like I've often said, I'm not perfect. I I will make mistake.
Everybody
So-
don't know everything.
so-
That's why I tell you yesterday. I appreciate what you all are doing.
Yes, like I said,
What I don't appreciate
Mm-hmm.
is that you all are discrediting the whole of Christianity. I tell some people, see what's going on in America.
we are not
He that they
again,
exalted himself shall be brought
again,
down. He gonna be brought down.
again, Miss Henry, you're using a broad brush. I am not a Christian. I will never be a Christian. I will not go out there.
That's your choice.
Listen to me. I will not go out there trying to convert people to be Christians. But in the same breath, I don't go out there trying to say to people, you can't be a Christian. It's up to you. What I do is I show what this Christianity has done to us as a people.
That's true.
Yes.
But ain't no lie. That's why I tell you, those are not authentic Christian because the very Bible that they push condemn them. What do you think all of these kingdoms come on? And America is next.
Well, I feel so
Who's
too.
next?
I feel the United States, and I think the leaders in America are aware of it, and they're trying to curtail it, but it's only a matter of time. It is inevitable.
What God start, you finish, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine you used to say, rule Britannia, Britannia rule the waves. Britain never will be slaves. Right? The slave to America.
Okay, Miss Henry, I have another caller.
All right, then.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for your input. Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning again. Miss Henry, remember the word said the wheat and the tears have to grow together. Is she still on the line?
No, she has hung up.
Oh, okay. I was hoping she stayed on the line.
But she
And
hear you
because-
still. She's hearing you still, though.
Because there's coming a day of harvesting, and you see the word Christian. That's why I don't say I'm a Christian, because then if you ask anybody, they tell you I'm a Christian. I'm a child of God. I'm born again. The old things have passed away. The things I used to do before I came to Christ, I don't do them no more. The places I used to go, I don't go there no more.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between some people that I'm a Christian and a true child of God who are born again. We turn from our wicked ways. We turn from the things we used to do. We don't do them anymore. So that's why I don't tell people I'm a Christian. I don't throw the word Christian, because if I go to the street and I ask 5 people, are you a Christian? They're going to say, yes, I am.
Yeah, well,
But I'm living like a dog.
But hear this. You're right, because I'm into music, right? And you know what amazes me? I have a lot of rap albums, right? From way back when, the days when we had hardcore, gangster rap and all that kind of stuff. And they'll be using the most profanity, talking about gunning down and this and that. But at the end of their album, they say, and we give thanks and praise to the Almighty Jesus Christ. And I'm thinking to myself, wow.
Like God did not help you in that mess. That's the problem, and that's the whole thing. A lot of people do this stuff, and they say, I give thanks to God.
Yeah.
God did not help you in that. That did not glorify God in any way.
Yeah.
So why are you even bringing up God in it? Because men have put God at such a low level of degree that they brought him down so low that they think God agree with every and anything.
Well, I think part of it too is that because it becomes like a popular thing to say that you're into God and so forth. So I'm telling you, I have and speaking about when I was young, these are the things that kind of turned me away from certain things, because here's it, I'm a young person, radical thinking, all those songs with the bad words and what you're going to do to your enemies and blah, 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 and most profound profanity, and yet still in the end of your album, you're always saying, I thank God for helping me to achieve this goal. And I'm thinking, wow.
And poor God has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That is so sad. That's the way the world is. It's like bring God down. Instead of we rise up, we bringing him down, and he getting lower and smaller in some people's eyes, because they have God as just disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good day, Queen.
Yeah, same to you. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're back, and the time 11:43. We are fast approaching the end of Voices for today. Again, today has been rather an interesting day, looking at the various issues in and around the Caribbean, from a zone of peace being threatened and on the verge of war. But I'm hoping that that does not escalate to that point, even though there are those who are saying this is what will be. I kind of not only don't hope it to be that way, but I don't really think, I don't feel it, I might be wrong, I don't feel it in my gut that it will be that way. But then again, who am I? I'm just one individual hoping for the best in a seemingly becoming more and more chaotic world. And so, from our zone of peace to a zone where it is purported individuals will come and bring a utopia that is supposed to save us. And save us from what? I guess I still need to be enlightened. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes.
My little transmitter on it. I want to send, changing the tone of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Today makes Mr. Rupert Griffin of Camps Village.
Yes.
He makes 100 years today.
Wow, that's a big achievement.
Boy, that is what some people wish.
That's way past the 310.
He said, if by reason of strength you go to 80, you still don't have pain and ache, eh?
Yeah.
Because the body ages.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these people have very good memory, you know.
Yes.
Now, I know of Mr. Griffin, because I used to go to the Methodist Church at the village, St. Johnson Village.
Yeah.
He and his wife were what they call class leaders. For years, she died, she passed before him. He worked on the Camps Estate, Camps Westlam,
Yeah.
as an overseer. Or headman, whatever, head cutter, head whatever. A gang leader,
Mm-hmm.
And I think when they decided to mechanize the sugar industry, when they brought in the grappler and so,
Yeah.
a number of the people left and went. And he worked as a stevedore for years. For years, a very quiet man, you see him working. Very quiet man. You know, that's why sometimes you got to watch the stress thing, you know. You got to watch the stress thing. And examine the ancestors, see who live long. So to Mr. Griffin, his son Tony, and the former police officer.
Well, my mother lived until my mother lived up until 84. She was 84 when she passed.
Oh, so you got it in.
And my father lived up to 90. Yeah, so.
Wow, so you buy stops and bonds. You got good genes.
Well,
My mother died 3 months before she made 80.
okay.
My father died at 71.
Okay.
My brother, 80, 81, 170 something or so.
Mm.
But I just say the scripture, right? With other believer, with long life you will satisfy me and show me your salvation.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot to share, a lot to do.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't desire death.
Well, no one.
The other day
no
I heard
one
that
really
a student
does.
at Mona
Yeah.
committed suicide.
Yeah.
And you wonder why. And the young lady in Jamaica who had been Miss Jamaica, she also hung herself.
Wow.
So you wonder what is going on.
But Miss,
You know, you
but,
got to
but
have
Miss,
fortitude,
Miss,
you know.
Miss Henry,
You got to have fortitude.
Miss Henry, a lot of things are happening that we're not aware of. Behind closed doors, people are being
A lot of us,
abused, and you know, a lot
a
of
lot of us
things are
go through
going on.
struggles, you know.
Yeah.
And then the enemy of our soul. Well, boy, why don't just end it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think your mother will make 84 without struggle?
I know she didn't. I know she
If
had
a lot of the slaves live long, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
In spite of all the blows they get. But even when I was growing up, there were people in the 90s, the old grandmother, miss this, miss this, miss that.
Yeah.
A lot of, and if you were to hear their life story, even so how come you hang yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hold a second. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good morning again. I just want to tell Miss Henry she should write a book. With the vast of knowledge she have, I enjoy just listening to her giving history. Miss Henry should write a book.
I wrote a book and I have it.
You did? What's the name of it? Is it on Amazon?
The book is about, I researched for 5 years the history of the village. And I covered from the beginning of the village until 1970, 69, 70. How it started, the culture. You know, I even did it, the economy, the crime, and the whole aspect of people life.
Mm-hmm.
And the expansion of the village, because I was born and raised in the village. And I assumed that the village was the same size when I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And I also understand why villagers had a certain attitude. After the 1928 hurricane, well, the village started in the late 1990s. When trying to do our family tree, I discovered that my grandfather got married in 1903. I'm not too sure even Nevis or whatever. But he's a free man married to a Jeffers, both are Nevis and extract.
Let me ask you this, Miss Henry. You said you have that book. Is that book available?
No, I haven't printed it yet. What happened?
Oh, okay.
I wrote it.
Print it,
I was in the process of
Miss
editing
Henry.
it.
Yeah.
Then my husband took sick with cancer. Another one was having emotional problems. So everything threw me back. And then I had a problem with my eyes.
Yes.
Well, I have a program on my laptop called JAWS. Don't you hear about JAWS?
No, I'm
in
not
which
aware.
I could do some research.
Yes.
But it become after I went to St. Thomas in 2015-16, I got Zika, which affected my eyes. And when the doctor gave me I had glaucoma surgery in Barbados.
Yeah.
And when giving me the thing to clear up the eye, it closed down the vent that was put in when I had the glaucoma surgery.
Okay.
So I lost my vision by 2018.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but I am resilient. I bounce back. You know, so I.
Well, I pray you get that book published.
One time I approached a company, and the amount they tell me is like, better you had write it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like some song you record and they should get like 1 cent a track.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole system is set up to rip off the creators, you know.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
the person tell me, so much $100 US and so.
Yeah. Imagine you create a thing, and next thing your returns are mere cents on the dollar, and they are getting
And the
all
person
these
getting, they're
big,
getting 95%.
yeah.
You know, so I have been trying to get somebody to do the proper editing. I have all
Miss Henry.
the extracts. Because I was I became so enamored, when I go to a safari.
Miss Henry, the caller wants to tell you something. Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask my daughter-in-law some question about publishing a book because she did a book for her kids and it's sell on Amazon. And I'm gonna find out how she went about it, and I'm gonna give you the information.
Some people do what they call self-publishing.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, but some of them, they self-publish. They take your thing, extract. I have to get all that covered. Nobody take up my thing and say it's yours.
Yeah. You
people could be
still
very
have to be
dishonest,
very you still have to be very careful of whom you deal with.
Honest.
Yeah.
I even promised to give it away to the archives or whatever. The people could access it. Because I want people to know. Because a lot of information in there, As I said, I took 5 years. When I retired in 2003, and by 2005 I started.
Yeah.
And the more I went, the more I learned. So a lot of what I say is what I learned and discovered at the archives.
Yeah.
And I interviewed a lot of older people.
Yes.
I tell you, to me it was a blessing, and people were honest.
If that book had if that book had been published, I would have gotten a copy for myself because I am always interested in
villagers and got it involved.
I'm always interested in history
it is over 400 pages,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And
I'm
then
telling you, because they're doing categories.
And then another aspect of it is that I did have a stint as a young boy before my mother brought me to the Virgin Islands, where I lived in Trafalgar in the village. So
so Trafalgar is part of the story.
Yes.
The same thing about the Fort Thomas Hotel.
Yes.
The history that is there.
We used to run across there and play all around the Fort Thomas, Thomas grounds. Yeah.
But I want our people to know the story. I am more interested in spreading the information than even getting the money.
Yeah.
But I got to get honest people and say I can get a lawyer to draw up a contract. And get somebody to put in, because you can protect the document.
Yes.
But they can't copy it.
Yeah.
They can't print it, but they could read it.
Yes.
So I've been thinking of even putting it up for free. Because I'm getting older,
Yeah.
And I want to spread information. That is my job.
Yeah, well, that is...
then thank you, darling.
Yeah. Okay, then, Miss Henry, you take care. Yeah. And that is kind of what I do here, what I'm trying to do in my own little way, trying to see if I can disseminate something and someone along the way can pick up some positivities, because I too am fast approaching the end of my stint within the realm of the living and so on and so forth. So, yeah, that is why I don't speak along party lines. I don't try to pick a side. I say it as I see it. And, hoping that something positive can be garnered from such. Well, we've reached the end of another stint for today, starting with Island Tea and moving into voices. And now we've got only just about 5 more minutes left. I'm going to see if I can use that 5 minutes left to say to you, the masses out there, that you are the ones who collectively chart the course and create your own destiny. Do not let any foreign entity, no matter how glossy they try to make their words and how glib they make their marketing strategies, do not let any foreign entity come and determine what your or our destiny should be. Our destiny must be determined by ourselves. After all, our foreparents, our forefathers, who suffered through slavery and 400 years of oppression, 400 years from then until where we are at now, we cannot afford to just give it up. We cannot afford to just throw our hands up and say, well, I've had it. Because if they had done that way back then, we would not exist today. It is because they fought tooth and nail. Unlike a lot of people who are trying to sanitize the history now, are trying to make it look as if though they were nice and slavery wasn't too bad a thing. No, it was a horrific thing, and our foreparents died fighting it. And for those of you who are Christians, and a lot of you sing a lot of hymns, a lot of those hymns come from black spirituals, songs like Row Jordan Row, and that one about Steal Away to Jesus, and all of those. Are you aware that a lot of our foreparents, even though those are what we call Christian songs, and are you aware that you're taking those songs in the wrong context? When you sit down today or you stand and you sing a lot of those songs, Steal Away to Jesus, Row Jordan Row, and Old Man River, and so many other spiritual songs, are you aware that our foreparents was using the Christianity imposed upon us to find ways to escape? Are you aware that a lot of those quote-unquote Christian songs were really songs of escape? What does that tell you? It tells you that even our foreparents, a lot of them, even though they went to the church, they didn't go to the church for the gospel of this Jesus Christ who came and died on a cross. They went to church so that they could plan and they could execute schemes. A lot of them, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, and especially those who wrote those songs, went to scheme ways of escaping slavery. The song Steal Away to Jesus was not steal away to Jesus Christ who died on a cross. It was steal away to the ship Jesus that was supposed to come and take them back to the motherland. So you need to do a lot of research into the songs that you sing in your church and understand the meanings behind them. That is why we say when you don't have a knowledge of your history, then you're doomed to relive it. If it is that our foreparents was using the church and the so-called Christianity and religion to escape from bondage, why is it that we're using it today to push and motivate continued oppression? Be mindful of your history. Like I said, it is your right to adhere to whatever you adhere to, but be aware of everything associated with what you adhere to. Some of those very songs that you go into church and sing were written by people who were segregationists, who were racist, who were prejudiced, who didn't see us and our foreparents as human beings. They saw them as less than, without soul, but yet still they wrote some of these songs, those that were written by colonialist masters. There's a particular one written by a former slaver who was a captain or who was associated with a ship that took people through the Middle Passage. And then he said he had his coming to Jesus Christ, his what they call it, his road to Damascus when he was enlightened, and he had this change around. And we need to take a lot of what we're subjected to with a grain of salt. Don't just swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Try to delve into the history behind and incorporated with Christianity. And that brings us to the end of Voices for Today. Coming up next will be the WinFM headline news, or WinFM, midday news. Okay? So do take care and continue to have yourself a great day.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the WinFM News. The WinFM News is brought to you by Carrie Brewery, SL Hawksford and Company.